Did you know? Yup, it's official. I've checked the calendar, it says January, and that means it's a new year. Yes, 2014 is upon us. A couple of days ago, fireworks exploded in the skies across the globe as people celebrated. It's around this time of year that many attempt to make New Year's resolutions. Get healthier, get more money, perhaps defrost the fridge. Personally, I find myself thinking of buttons. Some of the oldest buttons that we know about come from the Indus Valley civilization and are around 5,000 years old. These buttons, often made from seashells, served a decorative purpose with pleasing geometric designs. They were attached to clothing with thread and looked rather pleasing. But they weren't buttons as we understand them, they were decorative. Around 2000 BC, similar metal buttons were used for decorative purposes in Zhou dynasty China. The Romans used metal for clasps and brooches. Buttons were still decorative, and the same goes for the Anglo-Saxons. Here is a button brooch, very much for decoration. It is in the 13th and 14th centuries that we start to see buttons used as we would recognise them, used for holding increasingly tightly fitting clothing to the body. Buttons and buttonholes were here to stay, and while buttons no doubt maintained their decorative allure, they were now for the most part functional, buttoning up a smart coat, for example. Now you may be wondering, what on earth do buttons have to do with New Year's resolutions? Those annual goals which we forlornly lay out before us, fully expecting to spectacularly fail at some point. Well, I would humbly say that buttons have a lot to do with New Year's resolutions. They are now ubiquitous, and they come in all shapes and sizes. They are in many ways very attractive, but also as well very functional. But buttons were not always buttons. Their usage has somewhat deviated from the original idea, and over time they've become something quite varied and different. It might be worthwhile considering this when writing your resolutions. Sure, have an idea, but when that idea doesn't quite work out the way you thought it would, don't consider it necessarily to be a failure. Personally, I resolve to continue learning and sharing, and I hope to have fun along the way. Happy New Year everyone, here's to 2014.